kind of like, who has time for that?
Yeah, absolutely. Right? Like we have a system that is I see I don't know how to pronounce your name, Dr. I think Jada,
Jay.
Jay. I don't know how to unraise your hand. So just so you know, I see that your hand is raised. I don't know how to unraise it.
I just unraised it.
Oh, perfect.
I don't know either. My
Okay.
phone actually noticed that I'm on the go and like changed all of what I'm able to
All
do.
of your settings. They're like
But I was
safety.
thinking the same thing. I was like, I remember a time whenever we were getting ready to move and I was so stressed out, and a friend of mine was like, you and your daughter need to just go have some fun. And I was so stressed, I couldn't even think of something fun to do.
Oh,
and I was like, wow, how pathetic is that I can't even think of something fun right now.
Yeah. 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 And I think like, I'm just going to keep seeing you raise your hand. And I think that like, absolutely, like, you know, it feels unnecessary. It feels frivolous, especially with all that we're doing, like energetically in service to our families, to our business, to like, how do you carve that kind of time out? And
Yes,
and
Lisa.
like, what do you even begin to do? Yeah, and Lisa, like, how do we redefine it, right? And I think that these are all like such great. I am so appreciative that this is where we're starting, and because again, like one of the things that really drew me to play is that like as a psychotherapist, I was studying a lot. Like I was working very exclusively in like a lot of gender and like women's studies. I'm doing maternal mental health. I'm doing attachment trauma. And I kept seeing over and over and over again in my room this exact same thing. Like, I don't know how to engage in my life in an enjoyable way. Like, I don't remember because I am drowning all the time in the needs of others and the needs of my business and my own needs. I don't know how to engage in my life and in my own being in like a fun way. And this is exactly like why I like dove in, because I think for me, like this is exactly what like we have been this is exactly this how the culture has like wanted us to become, right? This is part of why like women between the ages of 8 and 11 lose play, because we very quickly begin to focus on like, how do I show up in a way that supports other people? Like we begin to learn culturally through family systems, culture systems, school systems to elevate the needs of others, that we really do forget what it means to be a playful version of ourselves. And Lisa, I love that you asked, like, how do I redefine it? And so a couple things about play that I think I wish every human being understood, which is one, welcome, hello. One is that play is what is called a homeostatically regulated state, which means that it is the same as sleep and food and thirst, that if we deprive it, it will lash out. And it will lash out in what we see as mental health symptoms, as loneliness, as anger, as anxiety, as like ADHD style symptoms, like feeling fidgety, right? It that lashes out as impulse, insomnia. Like these are all can be signs and symptoms that we are in a play deprived body, right? Because it's the same thing as like hunger, like, and I wish we had a word for like hangry, where you get hungry and angry. Like, I don't know what that like word combo is for play, but it's there. So one is like
We can be
play,
plangry.
plangry, yeah, like placey,
Yeah.
like so play is a biological need, right? It is something that like we is core to our being. Each individual walks the earth with their own play identity. It's like a thumbprint, where each person has their own unique way of playing. And we play the exact same throughout our entire lifetime. It is our personality. Like play is our personality. What changes is how we express it in different phases of our life, right? Like Lisa, you mentioned like how do you redefine it in this season of life? You know, and Jay, you talked about like how do you re-embrace it when you forget and when you don't know how to. And so one of the ways that we can reconnect with play is by remembering how we played and kind of kaleidoscoping it. And this is what I really love to do in my work is and some people have very specific memories of how they played as kids, and some people don't, and that's okay. But one of the ways we can really start to re-understand our play is pulling a memory up where we felt really engaged in our own being in an enjoyable way. Like we felt like our best. And really kind of starting to understand like what was it in that circumstance that helped us feel alive. A couple other things about play is that play is not a behavior. And this is one of my favorite things to help people understand is that play is not a behavior, it's a mindset. So, for instance, I could host a dance party right now and everybody might really be like, cool, I love dancing, I'm super into that. And then I put on a heavy metal song and people are like, wait, I don't know how to engage in this, right? Like all of a sudden, this idea that we thought was going to work doesn't work because your body doesn't know how to experience the music. It's not in your profile. And so play is an experience of engaging with something with enjoyment. Like that is what the classic definition of play is, engage with enjoyment. And that's not something we can see from an outsider's perspective, right? That is a felt sense in the body. It's like an internal feeling in the body. And I think probably all of us as women have I truly believe that women have incredible skills at masking, at showing up at a party and looking like they're having a great time. And they leave and they're like, oh my God, that was fucking terrible, right? Or going to the beach and looking like they're enjoying it, but they're really stressed out and exhausted and tapped out from the tasks of it. And this is why it's so important that play is understood as an experience of a behavior. It is not the behavior in and of itself. So there's a loop here of engage, enjoy, engage, enjoy, engage, enjoy. And so some of the things that we can learn from play and that are kind of specific about play is that it is not built, you can engage with play with some purpose, but the purpose is not ever the end result. So for instance, even if we take it back to kid style play, right? I want to build the tallest tower I can, right? There's a purpose there, but the real purpose is I'm going to experiment to see how high I can get, right? Play is in the experimentation, not in the final product. And I think that's the other thing we get to learn about play is how do I stay in it, right? Because part of play is embracing the chaos of it, the unpredictability of it, which is really, really hard to do. And so some of the benefits that we get from play are things like more flexibility, more confidence, more resiliency, feeling more connected to ourselves and others, a greater sense of embodiment, more creativity, right? Creativity is a side effect of playing. And when we start to kind of find our play again, we are able to apply it all over our world. Because like you said, Jay and Lisa, it's not something that we have to go out and do. It's not like a task. It's like a mind switch. It's like a Jedi mind frame. It's putting on a different, internal body. It's shifting the body from the inside out so it can experience and engage in the world in a different way. And so my goal in my work is to help people one, understand that inside out flipping, how do I shift this? And how do I find kind of gateways for play in an external way, both and. Because the reality is not all of us have the free time or the luxury of finances and time to go out and re-engage in hobbies, right? I think that's a very high standard for women who are parenting and working. But it doesn't mean we can't internally work on the play framework where we get to learn to re-engage in our life. So I'm going to pause for a second and kind of see what is sparking curiosity, interest, like in all ways. Like I really do welcome, like that didn't make sense to me. I don't agree with that, because like that's what play is. It's like the rough and tumble of conversation. So what kind of questions do you have? What's sparking curiosity? What's going on with it for people?
I think wondering, for me, when we first talked about this, like wondering what that looks like
What play looks like?
what bringing it into, like having a tangible example of like how, like you did for me with packing lunches, and planning. Like I think having that tangible example of like how, because I think it's this concept and we're all like, we want to change our mindset, but we don't know what that means.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So we'll talk a little bit more about tangibility in a second. Yeah. What else is kind of going on? Because that's a big conversation I want to like unpack together.
One thing that's coming up for me is that I have 3 kids, and like they're obviously the best models for play out there. And sometimes I'll just be vulnerable and honest. Sometimes it's frustrating. Like sometimes it's just frustrating because I don't have the energy all the time.
Yeah.
And so it's like, how can I just lean into it a little bit more?
Yeah. Yeah. And I think I have an 11-year-old and a almost 3-year-old, or almost 11 and almost 3. And I will say, like, when I watched my daughter, who's 11, shift into toddlerhood, like something like really ignited in me, where I was like, I have no idea what to do. Like, I have no idea how to do what she is doing, right? Like, her play like fascinated me. I was like, I do not have like a memory or an understanding of my body of what it means to like lose yourself like that, or to get so like into something. And I was like, what? And I was like jealous, I was angry, I was sad, I was like all of the emotions at once. I was like in awe of her. And I think like part for me, like of what started to really like, and also like when she shifted into toddlerhood, she didn't want me as much. She wanted it to be her way. And I was like, I know, but the piece goes here, right? And I could feel like kind of that frustration of like wanting to insert myself in her play. And it became very clear to me, like, I'm like, where am I getting to like feel this sense of like losing myself, of like satisfying my own play loops, right? Like it became like a very clear like accountability piece for me of like, ooh, I am not like, I know I'm not angry at her because like she's a baby. Like I am angry about something else going on, and like something else is igniting in me here. And I think one of the things that when we practice our own play and we take ownership of our own play, it becomes wildly easier to engage with others, including our kids. Because when we play with our kids, that does not mean that we are playing. We are almost like an object of their play, right? And this is what I think really important, is that you are not there to enjoy your kids' play. That may happen if you're lucky, but you are an object of their play. They're like almost like you're a doll in a way, right? That is not your play. That is their play. And if you are lucky, you enjoy being like a figure of their action. So like one of the ways you can turn on is kind of almost imagining yourself in this doll, like a doll version of you. Like, yes. And then like Barbie Lisa does this. Yes. And then Barbie Lisa does this, right? Where like you almost recognize that like you're not in it. That's not your space in a way. And that can kind of sometimes help like shift to some of the mental expectations that we have of like what that moment is supposed to be about for us. And we become almost a bystander or object of their play rather than like it being something that is like meant for us. And I will say that when you start to re-engage in your own personal play, it becomes so much easier to find the places of others' play that you can engage in, right? Um, so, and I'll come back to that in a little bit because we're going to do a play exercise here and we'll circle back to that. So before I kind of shift to this play exercise, like are there any other kind of questions or thoughts?
I feel like, Lisa, when you said that, it brought to mind, like, my husband is definitely the fun parent. And sometimes I get really frustrated with him because I'm like trying to have a serious conversation and he gives me like a smart aleck remark because he's just being fun. And I'm like, this is serious. And then I get mad because I'm like, I'm the serious parent. I don't always want to be the serious parent, but also I'm not the fun parent. I'm just not. And I probably won't ever be. I do. I can be fun with them.
This is very much like a part of patriarchal like trauma, right? And role trauma and gender trauma. Is that there is no studies that say men are more fun than women. Literally no studies say that. What studies do say is that women are drowning in like the mental load that pushes opportunities for enjoyment and engagement out, right? There's literally no study that confirms that there's any gender bias that like men are better at having fun. There is studies that say that men's enjoyment and pleasure is more prioritized than women's, right? And so like that's not true that you're not the fun parent, right? And I understand that because I think so many women are in that bind. And it is true that you don't have as easy an experience, like there's not as much space for you to be and engage in the fun because we are holding the bag, right? And to understand that that is a pattern within our systems and not our personality. And this is something I talk about a lot in my work is like our patterns versus our personality is that you are in a pattern that limits your fun. It is not your personality that is not fun. You're in social, cultural, and gender patterns that are exactly set up the way that we expect them to be, which is to have less fun, right? And this is not actually our personality. Like, it's like there's nothing in the research, and I would lay myself on the fires of the world to like on this, that women are just as capable of having pleasure and joy and fun in their biology. The reason that we are not is systemic trauma to like how women are allowed to express themselves and the way that we prioritize have learned to prioritize others' needs. Like it is entirely patterned that we are in this dynamic, which is really terrible because it feels like these are really big patterns. Like, how do I begin to fight this? How do I override this? And this is what play is about, is like, how do I just start to get the ball rolling, right? Like, how do I start to feel more fun, enjoyment, engagement in my life in the everyday, right? Like, how do I push these patterns away from my body because they don't belong to me, right? Like, these don't belong to me. I was trained like this. I was like Maslow'd. I was like, I was like what is my brain? It's the dog, which is
Pavlov.
I'm going Maslow, and I'm like, I know that's not right. We are Pavlov dogs, like where like it's like, oh, somebody's thirsty, get them water. Like somebody is hungry, get them snack, right? Like these are patterns. They are not who we are. And so like this is part of what play is like, how do I play myself out of this pattern that I've been trained into? Because it is not actually who I am, right? And it is in their everyday is a revolutionary act. It is an act that is systemically fights like gender and social oppression within our own homes, our own beings, our own, like in our microsystems. So, all right, let's play for a minute. We're gonna play a little MadLibs. Somebody shout out a verb. And this is called remembering how to play.
Walking.
Okay. Walk. Walking. An adjective. It can't be Katie. And whoever is the last person to give it is going to have to play first on screen.
Fast.
Fast. Wait. Did you say fast? Okay. Let me find a verb for that. Wait. Adjective. Yeah, sorry. Okay. A place.
Disney.
Beach. Disney. That's great. A noun. We had beach. That works for both. A plural noun.
Pencils.
Pencils. An age.
27.
Another verb.
Listen.
Plural noun.
Birds.
Birds. An adjective.
Blue.
Blue. An age. We got 6 more.
45.
45. Plural noun.
Smiles.
Smiles. A verb.
Laugh.
2 adjectives. An adjective and an adjective.
Crunchy.
Ooh, that was a good one.
I'm going to go smooth. We can have a peanut butter debate later. Animal.
Panda.
Panda. I knew you were coming in with that. All right. And last one, a color.
Thank you, Jessica.
So if we get a panda high five. Blue. Okay. All right. When I was a kid, this is called remembering how to play. When I was a kid, I loved walking with my friends, and it made me feel fast. I would daydream about Disney and pretend I was a mighty beach. I would build cities using pencils and get lost in stories about peanut butter or about crunchy places far away. Once I turned 27, I got too old to listen, and my friends and I stopped playing with birds. I felt too blue to play in front of people. But now I'm age 45, and I still miss playing with my smiles. Now I'm all grown up, and I want to laugh again. So this week I'm going to try 3 types of play. I'm going to try explorer play and look for things that are crunchy and smooth. I'm going to try some body play and move like a panda. And I'm going to do imagination play and imagine that I'm laying on the beach every time I see the color blue. So, for a moment here, can everybody kind of look around their environment? And I know some people are driving, but I'm going to give this a whirl anyway. So if you're you're driving, obviously you can't like leave the destination, but you can use with your eyes. You have 2 minutes to go find something that is crunchy and something that is smooth. Go. I'm going to. We got 1 minute left. And is anybody still looking? Are we back? Okay. I think we're here. I'm going to assume we're here. All right. So if you're on screen, let's do some show and tell. What you got?
Mine, embarrassingly, was at my desk already.
Oh, perfect.
I have a little bowl of crunchy nuts, and also I have my my secret stash of chocolate that I keep at my desk that has smooth mini eggs in it.
Love that.
For my daily medicine of chocolate.
I got you. What else do we people have? Oh, there's our timer. What else do people get?
I have.
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I have almonds for crunchy.
We got double nuts.
Yes.
Yes. And I have my glass cleaning cloth.
Oh.
Great. What did you get, Lisa?
A pretzel
We are a snack crew. Look at
and
us being snacky.
a jar of sauce, which is like really smooth. I also brought snacks, and I can't seem to get my video to work, but I have corn nuts that I got at David's school the other day, and there is nothing crunchier than corn nuts. Original or BQ? I like original. And a Hershey Kiss for smooth, and then I wanted to show you guys this. That when someone talked about blue and seeing the ocean, I actually have like a Little Mermaid. What's it called? From the Happy Meal toy on my desk.
Yeah.
Like an ocean with like a mermaid on it, and so I felt like that was like blue seeing the ocean. So
That's awesome.
I'll have that too.
I had a Velcro strip and this like hand that I keep at my desk that's super smooth. That was my
For crunchy, I grabbed my daughter's play pack.
Ooh.
Like that. For smooth, I grabbed this rock that I painted in my son's friendship party for Valentine's Day a few weeks ago.
Love that.
And I don't know if either of you, Jay or Lindsay, I don't know if you guys are there, and if you want to jump in, you're welcome to. Otherwise, I'm gonna keep like start like feeling kind of energy start to move up and out for my in my being. Like I always feel a little warmth and like for me, like that's a sign I've started playing.
Yeah, I feel like more fun.
Yeah. And I want to acknowledge, like, it doesn't have to be like when I start to play, I also lose my vocabulary. So when I literally just said, like that is a true expression and is totally valid as for me as to like, what is your body noticing? Like, it might be a sound, it might be a color, it might be like, like to allow the body to not feel so much pressure around languaging here, too. Right? So if you were to pick your crunchy thing up, like, and you were to give it a movement, right? Like, what is, for me, like, this is my Velcro movement. Right? Like, if you were to, like, move and sound for a crunchy object, what would it be? Right? I want you guys to notice this feels awkward. Like, it will feel, like, when you yes,
Oh,
there you
good
go.
job, Jess. I feel like I'm the rattling nuts.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And I want you to like notice it feels awkward, right? Like it feels awkward to practice self-expression. Like play is vulnerable. It is hard. It is like, and it is like in our effort to become more playful, we are awkward along the way. Like awkwardness is a part of like that. Like when we feel awkward, when we feel confused, like that is a sign that we're at a growth edge, right? And this isn't a moment where you're like, okay, like this is weird. Am I capable of crossing this, right? Like, and this is not about like forcing the body, right? Like play is about like, about embracing choice, right? Like, yeah, this is awkward and I'm going to do it anyway because like I have the capacity to feel a little awkward and embarrassed right here, right? Like not every moment will be a yes, right? Like, and but it's like really about like noticing those awkward moments where like, yeah, I want to say something here, like, and like rising above it, right? Like riding that wave through. So if you were your smooth object, like how would you move here?
Yeah. I feel like rolling.
Which is what Ariel does on her little wave on my desk.
And so for a moment, kind of go back and forth, like in your own body here, between like crunchy, like your crunchy and your smooth movement. And start to really pay attention to like how the body experiences those differently. Like I feel smooth in my body. Like when I move in like my hand, like I can almost feel this like sense of like almost like a ribbon in my body. And here I'm just like, I almost can feel like I can feel my chest going, like, can you guys notice a body difference?
One is crunchy and one is smooth.
Right. Right. So this right here is like object play, right? Like this is, so like for me, when like as I started learning play, when I was feeling crunchy towards my family, right? Like when I was feeling like angry in my household, I would often go look for an object that felt like me at that moment, right? Like I would go on a treasure hunt. Like I am about to lose my mind. What toy in here looks like me, right? And it would become like almost this object reflection. And then I would find like, who is its best friend right now, right? Like who would be its best friend? Like that, and maybe that's just a sense of validation, like, that sense of like, yeah, no wonder you're about to lose your mind. Like, have you seen this shit show of a house, right? And maybe sometimes it's like, you got this, like, I don't know, like best friends are different versions. We have different friends at different moments, right? So like, those are some of the ways like you can practice explorer play and object play here is like explorer play is all about like kind of, it's two different ways. It goes outwards, like what is the world around me? And like also what person, right? Like I'm a big nerd. I read so many neuroscience books on this subject, and like I am like a depth explorer, right? Like so exploration goes in both ways, like everything around me, and like it's when we're really into a subject, right? Right? Like we're gonna like those are kind of different ways of exploring, right? So we're gonna try some body play and move like a panda, right? Like what would your panda move like, right? Just in the body it's in right now. So this isn't about like being the playful panda, or like if you were a panda exactly as you were in this moment, like what would your panda look like?
I feel like
Right?
I'm gonna fall off of this chair, but
That's great. Vulnerability, like, don't hurt yourself, but it's okay to feel like that risk. Great. Great. So, if you made your panda like a really like lazy panda,
yeah.
like how would it move a little differently? Like if you were to make it even lazier. All right, now your panda saw its favorite snack. Like, what's it do? Right? So, what are you guys noticing in your panda play?
My panda's happy with snacks.
Yeah.
Just wants to snuggle and eat.
Yes. Yeah. Great. Did you know that before? That like you were in the mood to snuggle and eat? Or does that feel like a new awareness? And you may have known it, but just kind of curious, like how does that awareness changed after being in panda body?
Well, I think I definitely just discovered that. It's been a rough morning,
Cool.
and I'm like, I need someone to snuggle with, and I haven't eaten yet, so I'm hungry.
Thank you so much for like naming that, because I think this is a beautiful example of like when we play, all of a sudden we like it self-regulates the body, right? It brings us back into connection with our being, and we're like, man, I am not in the mood for this, right? Like, or I'm in the mood for something different. Like, it brings forward like that self-awareness, because play is inherently an embodiment practice, right? And it helps bring our biology back on, like on behalf of ourselves, right? Like we don't like it is rejuvenating and reconnecting and regenerating as a practice. Anybody else noticing anything from their panda body?
My panda went into a submissive state.
Totally. Totally.
Like see a dog like just go on its back.
Yeah.
That's what it did.
Yeah. Yeah. Was that like, you don't have to share anything, but like was that surprising to you? Like, do you have a story attached to that as to like,
It's a deep question.
yeah, let's not do it then. Let's not do
No,
it.
no, no.
Okay.
I love the question.
Okay.
Where my brain goes is I carry so much and I do so much and I just want to like not do everything all the time.
Great. Great. Right? So like your panda is kind of drowning, right? So like if you and I were playing kind of if we were working on play, like you and I would probably be working on like how do I get my panda to be like a little bit angrier, right? Like cuz like the opposite of submission is like healthy anger, right? Like I'm done with this shit. Like I'm not doing it. Right? Like it is a practice of boundaries. It's a practice, right? So like on a like in a coaching play, like and just to take it on your own, like how can I help my panda like rest in submission? Like go from submission to like to that coziness. Like I don't want to, right? Like how could you feel like a cozy submissive panda? But also, how could you be like a little bit of an angry submissive panda, like an angry panda that's like, I'm not making any more snacks, right? Like, like what, like to play in this small range of like, okay, like, because submissive is like this freeze, like I don't, like I'm done, I'm drowning. So like, okay, be done. I got you, little panda, right? Or like, yeah, you don't have to do that shit, right? So like that's the small play range window you get to play in. And again, noticing body play often connects us a little bit to our body needs, right? Um, Anybody else have a panda observation they want to share? And thank you guys both so much for like offering that. I think it's really, really helpful for people to see how play works in real body life. And so I really appreciate you guys bringing voice to your experiences there.
I feel like my panda was just like, I'm just going to sit here for a minute and
And I know that that's body awareness for you.
like, I just need
like,
to,
there's permission to just sit.
I just need to sit my ass down for a minute and be.
Yeah.
And maybe if you want to bring me some snacks, I'd be good with that.
And so for this last thing, yeah, uh, I don't know if you were doing a celebration of that, like
Yes.
to bring snacks, or no. Leanna's like signals went up. They're like there was like celebration hats and like fireworks that were coming from her screen. I don't know if she was just celebrating snacks or if she wanted to say something.
I was celebrating Katie taking a break and getting to bring her some snacks.
For real. For real.
You know how hard Katie works.
For real, right? And so if we just kind of take a moment here and either like, if you could look at something blue in the room, right? And just kind of allow your body to like be at the beach here. And just kind of notice like what your body orients to. Like notice if it orients to the wave. Notice if it orients to like the horizon. And what are you guys noticing as you kind of like give yourself a little beach break?
The beach calms me and also makes me want to drive 2 hours to the beach right now. Katie?
Yeah. I felt my shoulders relax. Like, I'm wearing blue, so I was like, and I have blue jeans on and blue slippers on, so I felt like I can be in this kind of chill mode.
Yeah. Yeah. I think one of the things I want, like in using these, is noticing how play can bring us up and bring us down, right? Like play is like kind of like when we think about the body and as a wave, almost like we can use play to activate us into something, and in a way, it will help. Play will help turn that focus on. It turns our focus, our intention, our energy on, and it also can be a way of like decompressing the energy. Right? Like what, and so like, it's great to kind of be able to notice, like, am I meeting my, like some of the time when we have really, really, really pushed to mindfulness as a way of like further suppressing the body from self-expression, right? Like I can find 1 gazillion yoga classes to go to. I can't find a single class in the area, and if you know it, that like teaches me how to like sing karaoke on stage, right? Again, or teaches me how to just make sound, right? Or teaches me how to bang on the desk again, right? Like we don't teach expression outwards. We don't teach imperfection. We don't teach getting stupid very easily in this culture. And it's not that mindfulness is a bad, like bad, right? Play is kind of for me the other side of it. It is the side of coming out over that hump of like those cultural patterns, those personal patterns. Like, how do I play my way out of this corner that I'm in my life, right? And that play is never pointless, right? It's never pointless. We can play with a purpose, like a very specific purpose, right? Where we have a goal in mind, which is like to feel less submissive, right? Or to feel more aware of our body, right? So we can play with a purpose in mind. And play can also be completely purposeless and be meaningful because our bodies will learn. Play is about that sense of trust that we're going to learn something along the way, and we're not doing it from this top down like systemic way. We're doing it because it feels good. And like we trust that when we do things that feel good, good things will come from it. Right? Like believing in ourselves, believing in our joy, believing in our pleasure, like matters and will matter in ways that we don't actually even know yet. And so play can be, we can have this intention and it like you feel something that feels good and you just are like, let me turn the volume of that up. Because remember that play is engagement and enjoyment, right? So in some ways, like really like if you're having your like coffee or your tea and you're like, oh, let me enjoy this warmth, right? Like all of a sudden, like you've turned the engagement on. You're like, I'm just gonna engage with this like warm drink for a moment. And all of a sudden your body has like engaged with more enjoyment, right? And so this, I think when we talk about like how do we redefine play in our everyday, is that again, play is a mindset. It's not a behavior we have to go out and do, right? It's something we can find in every moment. And I think a lot of people, one of the reasons I love this MadLibs I created is that I do think people inherently feel most comfortable in one of these three categories, right? As an explorer in their body or in their imagination, right? An explorer being like somebody who's just intrigued and interested in things, right? Body people who just like to feel like there's something like they're in movement, right? And it's different than like sports and athletics and classes. It's about like, how does my body want to move, right? And then in this imagination play, right, where like the body is exploring like potential, is connected to story, right? Like when we think about anxiety is storytelling, right? It is the body saying like making shit up to protect us, right? So people who really struggle with like that like worried style thinking, like what's going to happen, like this is somebody who's like a really, really powerful storyteller in their brain, and their stories are just only going one way, right? They're only going in the protective direction, right? People who feel like stuck in their bodies, these are people's bodies who have forgotten how they want to move, right? People who are hyper focused on the thing in front of them, like their to-do lists, these are explorers who have forgotten to look around, right? And so like I find people really identifying like, and there's so many different ways you can language play, right? And I do think it's really important to bring language to play, to say like, I am going to be an explorer for a little bit. I am going to be a body player for a little bit, or I'm going to be a storyteller imagination play for a little bit. And to I think the sense of like I am identifying solidifies the body like connecting with a path here. stored play energy and it's moving it back out. Like I have a right to like engage with my world in like real ways that like matter and don't matter. Because at the end of the day, like it's both. So we're had about 5 minutes left. So wanted to kind of open it up for questions and any other kind of pieces that we can close out for you guys before I send you on your way for the day.
I heard an interesting thing related to Jamie Kern Lima's new book. She had an Becoming Unstoppable event about a week ago, and Ellen DeGeneres was on there, and I just loved how she said to embrace humor and recognize most things aren't as serious as we make them to be.
Yes. And I'll say, like, you know, I think one of the things, like, is that, like, creativity and humor and laughter are side effects of playing. It is really hard to embrace humor as you're, like, it can be a gateway for people, right? Like, one of the play cue prompts I gave recently was go on a laughter hunt. Like, go listen to people laugh and pick your favorite laughter of the day, right? Like, and this is like kind of explorer style play and can engage humor, right? But humor is often it's a side effect of playing. It's a side effect of being an explorer, being a noticer, like listening to people, like observing people, right? It's like almost a side effect of being an explorer. And some people are like, I think naturally, like really, like that comes easily for them, right? And like kind of that capacity to take perspective, to find humor in things is a really, really, really important and valuable side effect of play. And it's not a very easy gateway for a lot of people, right? Like I did not laugh for a very, very long time. Like had zero sense of humor, could not understand humor. Like people would make sarcastic comments and be like, I don't understand. Like literally my left brain was so hyper logical and could not find humor in things. And it's been so interesting for me to watch how much humor I can find in the world after doing like 7 years of very like thoughtful like play. Like I laugh every day now and I'm like it still shocks me that I laugh every day because I went like probably 2 decades without laughing.
That resonates with me so much. Like
Yeah. I mean it brings tears to my body.
And I just wasn't funny. And
yeah.
I was like, I'm just serious. And I think thinking of it as a side effect helps me realize that I need to play in order to experience humor. Like that I can shape my experience in this world by playing more often.
Yeah. Yes. And I want to acknowledge, like, you know, play is super vulnerable. Like I think all of us when we started playing a little bit today, like probably felt awkward and like, oh my God, like I can't believe I'm doing this sort of feel. Right. And because I, you know, play and vulnerability, like these are the moments where like we get hurt in the world, right? Where like something disappointed us, something took us by surprise, somebody criticized us in a moment that we were like open and loving something and hopeful and like just beautiful as a person in that moment. And like that's when hurt happens. And this is part of why it's so scary to and like why play needs to be intentional because it's like I deserve to live in this more joyful, open and beautiful way. Like I deserve it. My family deserves this from me. The world deserves this of me. And it's not like an easy light switch. It's not like a light on, light off. It's a like, let me turn that dimmer just slightly up in ways that my body can tolerate. Because we can't just like go out in the world and like be this next version of us. It's just that slow incremental practice of like, how can I re-engage in this in an everyday way? And I will say like play, once you start purposefully practicing play, it's not hard to convince your body to play more because it's fun. And I I think this is one of the things is like, it is work, but it's work that like feeds your dopamine system. And like, once you start, you're like, I want to do more of that. Like, that was cool. Right? It self-propels. Like you never see a kid that's like, I don't want to play anymore. Right? Like, it's not natural. Right? Like, it's a self-fulfilling practice. When you start finding your corners, and that's why I think it's important to like give people language. Like, language is powerful. Like, explore body imagination. Like, anchoring into language can be really powerful as far as empowering you into a direction to like challenge yourself for purposeful play.
Who's ready to go play?
And I can stay, but I also want to honor like the time. You guys are. I love talking about this. I am obsessed with helping people find their play. You can find me on Instagram at the Playful Revolution. You can find me on my website at the Playful Revolution. I will out and about in Annapolis.
I think we're going to try to do an in-person event too with TJ, like something where we can meet up at the park and play. And, like just actually try to have some fun and do some things.
Yes, definitely. Definitely. And so please feel free to like re-engage me outside of this. Like, I love talking to people. If you want deeper work, I have coaching options, but I'm not here to sell that. Like, I'm just here to help bring you into this revolution because you deserve it.
Thank you, TJ. Thank you, everyone, for joining us.
Thank you.
Let's have fun today.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
You're so welcome. Thank you for coming. I really appreciate you being here.
Bye, everybody. Bye, Jessica. It's good to see you too.
I think that was amazing.
I do too. It felt so good.
Yeah.
I was so grateful that for people's like willingness to be vulnerable.
Yeah.
So